There's no commute. I don't have to commute. I can run my whole business from this little thing.
We're about to cross over our 5 millionth download.
It's easy to do, and it works.
This country is buying my apps. This country is buying my apps. This country is buying my apps. And this country is buying my apps.
Hi, this is Mars of the Lunchman. I'd like to tell you a compelling story about a guy named Chad Moretta. He's the author of the best-selling book, App Empire, and the creator of what I've been told is the simplest, most effective system for building a real business creating and selling iPhone apps. On the rare occasion that Chad speaks at an event, he usually finds himself mobbed by people who want him to show them what he knows, almost like he's a rock star of some kind.
He shared the stage with Tony Robbins, been the subject of a TV special on 60 Minutes with Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, and he's been featured on TechCrunch, Mashable, Entrepreneur Magazine, and on Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek blog.
What if I told you that Chad had stumbled into and perfected a way that just about anyone could build a small fortune in the fastest growing marketplace in the world? It has nothing to do with affiliate marketing or gimmicks or loopholes, and you don't need to be technically inclined or have a bunch of money to get started either. Chad's shown his system to a handful of top internet marketers. Several of them have built products for their lists based on what he showed them. One of them even got a company acquired thanks to Chad's system. So when the chance to work with Chad presented itself, I'll admit I was intrigued, but I figured he was probably some kind of a programming ninja, and that's how he'd done it. That is, until I heard Chad's story. You see, 3 years ago, Chad Moretta didn't know anything about building or selling apps. In fact, he couldn't even create a web page. He'd gone from being, get this, a male model to running a struggling real estate business. But the real story begins at 75 miles an hour on a dark, rainy night along a stretch of North Carolina highway. That's when Chad's whole world was turned upside down in an instant. He was driving home from an NBA game in Charlotte, exhausted from habitually working 100-hour work weeks at his real estate business, barely getting any sleep at all. Out of nowhere, a deer bolted in front of his truck. Unable to swerve, he slammed into the deer, flipping his truck 4 times. The truck was totaled and Chad's arm was completely crushed. The doctor said he'd never be able to use his arm again. Now, I'm not talking about most arm injuries where you can't lift weights for a little while or play basketball. From his elbow all the way up to his shoulder, Chad's arm was so shattered it seemed unlikely he'd ever be able to write, type, or even lift 10 pounds again. He was essentially one-armed, and to make matters even worse, it was his dominant arm that was damaged. The story of how Chad went from a man with no hope to an app millionaire is so compelling I couldn't resist the urge to get to the bottom of it. It took me some major wheeling and dealing to get a bit of time with Chad because he's got a pretty sweet life now as an app store millionaire, traveling all over the world doing whatever he wants to do. He only works about an hour a day, but I coerced him over to my friend Andy Jenkins' back porch in La Jolla, California. I wanted to see if I could get to the bottom of this incredible system of his. You're gonna see for yourself, Chad's just a regular guy, not some super slick snake oil salesman, and he doesn't have anything other than an honest bone in his body. But I'll let him tell you the rest of his story.